Hello everyone, this is Pranshi Verma. Welcome to the session Wireless and Mobile Networks Multiple Choice Question and Answer 2021 for your upcoming examination. Guys, they are very important question and answer for your upcoming examination and kindly focus on that and as well as kindly focus on your subject concept, subject theory, etc. Okay, so now without any further ado, let us get started. First question is which of the following is a fundamental principle of wireless communication? So guys, wireless communication is based on electromagnetic waves principle. So the fundamental principle of wireless communication is electromagnetic waves. In this, we can transfer the information using electromagnetic waves wirelessly. Wireless means no wires are needed. And data and information transfer between two or more points that do not use any electronic conductor, no wire as the medium as the means of transfer. Okay, so this is the fundamental principle of wireless communication. Next question, which of the following statement about the full duplex is correct? So guys, firstly, full duplex is a type of communication in which the information or data can back forth between two devices. For example, this is your first device, this is your second device. Full duplex work bidirectionally means in the same time you can transfer the data and in the same time you can receive the data. For example, this is this one. This is A and this is B. In the same time, A sends the data to B and B receives the data from A and B sends the data to A and A receives the data from B in the same time. So in this type of communication, each device can send and receive the data at the same time. So correct answer is option C. सेम टाइम डेटा सेंड हो रहा है गाइज और रिसीव भी हो रहा है. इट मीन्स टू डायरेक्शन में वर्क हो रहा है. इसको आप क्या बोल सकते हैं? बाई डायरेक्शनल. सो फुल डुप्लेक्स इज अ टाइप ऑफ बाई डायरेक्शनल communication. Option C is correct. Next question. Which of the following statements about the half duplex is correct? So half duplex means single direction. Means या तो एक टाइम में आप डेटा सेंड कर सकते हैं या फिर रिसीव कर सकते हैं. दोनों में से एक ही परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो द हाफ डुप्लेक्स इज अ टाइप ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इन विच द इंफॉर्मेशन और डेटा कैन बैक एंड फोर्थ बिटवीन टू डिवाइसेस. However, in this type of communication, each device can send and receive the data, but only one device can transmit the data at a particular time. For example, A and B, they both are devices. So यहाँ पर A क्या कर रहा है? बी को डेटा सेंड कर रहा है वन टाइम में, पर इन दिस टाइम बी ए को डेटा सेंड नहीं कर सकता. In the concept of half duplex, okay, half duplex is a type of communication. Each device can send and receive the data, but only one device can transmit the data at a time. So correct answer here is option B. Half duplex is a type of communication in one direction at a time. Next question, what is the full form of WLAN? So full form of WLAN is Wireless Local Area Network. Option B. Okay. And what is Wireless Local Area Network? So guys, in simple words, WLAN, Wireless Local Area Network, that links two or more devices using wireless communication to form a local area network within a limited area such as a home, a school, your computer laboratory in your school, your college campus or your office building. Okay. Next question, which of the following is also known as the developer of the world's first cellular system? So guys, Nippon Telephone and Telegraph, in short NTT, is known as the developer of the world's first cellular system. Okay, and for your kind information, Nippon Telephone and Telegraph Corporation is a Japanese company telecommunication. It's also known as NTT, and the Nippon Telephone and Telegraph is famous for developing the world's first cellular system. Option B is correct here. Next question. The hexagon shape is used for radio coverage because it uses the maximum area for coverage. Option A is correct here. Guys, hexagon shape is used for radio coverage because the hexagon shape has equal distances anywhere and everywhere. Okay, इस टाइप से भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. Shape has equal distance anywhere and everywhere. So answer is hexagon shape. Okay, however, before knowing that the hexagon shapes for cells are good for radio coverage, once the circular cells and square cells were also used, and when it get clear that both cannot be used for radio coverage as both had some serious problems. The cellular cells failed because while connecting our towers and there is a gap between the circles, which creates a hollow in which the radioactivity seemed almost none or very little, while on the other hand the square cells failed because of the inconsistent distance in all directions. Thus the hexagon shaped cells overcome these problems. That's why option A, hexagon shape, is used for radio coverage because it uses the maximum area for coverage is correct answer here. And guys, you should be able to solve the questions from square cells and cellular cells. Okay, because you know very well in the examination questions will be changed. Okay, next question. Wireless LANs use high parts labels and generally requires a license for a spectrum use. No, this statement is false because wireless LANs uses low power and generally do not require a license for a spectrum. They provide ad hoc high data transmission rate connections deployed by individuals. Okay, next question. First generation cellular and cordless telephone networks are based on analog technology, that is 0 or 1. 0 for no output and 1 for yes output. Okay, first generation cellular and cordless telephone networks are based on analog technology, and all first generation cellular systems use FM modulation, and cordless telephones use a single base station to communicate with a single portable terminal. Next question. Which of the following is true for first generation wireless systems? So guys, there are lots of features are present in first generation wireless systems and some disadvantages of first generation wireless systems are also there. So it's included poor voice quality, large phone sizes, poor battery life, no security, and it makes use of the mobile phone with the analog signal. It's more difficult and the signals are suffer from interference problem. Okay, so there are lots of disadvantages of first generation wireless system as well as poor handoff reliability also. So guys, here one disadvantage is present in the option, that is low rate. That's why option D is correct here, low rate, and this is true for first generation wireless system. You can say that. Okay, so I hope you know what I am saying here. They all are the very important points in first generation wireless system. Okay, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन हम देख लेते हैं. Which of the following networks protocol is used by US cellular carriers to automatically accommodate subscribers who roam into their coverage regions? Correct answer is option C, IS-41. Because US cellular carriers implemented the network protocol standard IS-41. It's allowed different cellular systems to automatically accommodate subscribers who roam into their coverage region. Okay. Next question. In second generation wireless networks, the handoff process is called mobile assisted handoff. In short, MAHO. In second generation wireless networks, the handoff process is mobile controlled and is known as mobile assisted handoff. The mobile units in these networks perform several other functions and their functions are not performed by first generation subscriber units. Okay. Next question, what type of handovers is supported by LTE? LTE stands for long term evolution. Okay, so hard handover only. Option A is correct here. LTE long term evolution supports only hard handover. It doesn't receive data from two frequencies at the same time because switching between different carrier frequencies is very fast. So soft handover is not required. Next question. The IMT 2000 is a digital mobile network that functions as the cordless, pager, and option C is also correct, lower Earth orbit satellite. So overall here correct answer is option D, all of the above, because they all are the functions of IMT 2000. And IMT stands for International Mobile Telecommunication for the year 2000. That is, IMT 2000 is a worldwide set of requirements for a family of standards for the third generation of mobile communications. Next question, which one of the following can help in avoiding the interferences between the neighboring base station? Correct answer is option A, assigning different group of channels. The interference between the neighboring base stations can be avoided by assigning different groups of channels. Okay. Next question. Radio capacity may be increased in cellular via increasing the number of base stations and reusing the channels. Option B is correct here. Next question. Which of the following is not an example of second generation wireless network? So in these options, AMPS is not an example of second generation wireless networks. At the other hand, GSM, CT2 and PACS, they all are the examples of second generation wireless networks. So let's go through one by one. Firstly, AMPS. So as you know, AMPS is an example of first generation wireless networks. AMPS stands for Advanced Mobile Phone Service and is a standard system for analog signal cellular telephone service in the United States, and it's also used in other countries. It's based on the initial electromagnetic radiation spectrum allocation for cellular service by the Federal Communications Commission FCC in 1970. Now, next one, we are talking about GSM. GSM stands for the Global System for Mobile Communications. Is a standard developed by the European Telecommunication Standards Institute (ETSI). In your examination, question is also asked like that. What is the full form of ETSI? So full form of ETSI is European Telecommunications Standards Institute. So the GSM is a standard developed by the ETSI to describe the protocols for second generations, means 2G digital cellular networks used by mobile devices such as mobile phones and tablets. Okay. Now I'm talking about CT2. So what is the full form of CT2? CT2 is a cordless telephony standard that was used in early 1990s to provide short range proto mobile phone service in some countries in Europe. It's considered the precursor to the more successful DECT system, as well as CT2 was also referred to by its marketing name Telepoint. Okay. Now I am talking about PACS. PACS stands for Personal Access Communication Systems. Is a type of wireless telephone network that is compatible with computers, fax machines, answering machines, and telephone sets. This is a low-power system designed for wireless local loop applications and personal communication services. Okay, now next question. When was the 2G communication introduced in the market? So guys, option D, 1988 is correct here. The 2G communications was first launched in early 1988 in the market. Next question, which organization is responsible for developing LTE standards? LTE standards for long-term evolution, as I already told you. And guys, here correct answer is option B, 3GPP. It stands for third generation partnership project. The third generation partnership project 3GPP is a collaboration between groups of telecommunication standards associations, is known as the organizational partners. LTE long term evolution introduced in 3GPP-R8 and is the access part of the Evolved Packet System EPS. Next question, how many types of security services are provided by the GSM? GSM stands for Global System for Mobiles, and three types of security services are provided by the GSM, and they are: first one, temporary identities for the confidentiality of the user's identity; second one, ciphering of the user's related information; and third one, authentication for the corroboration of the user's identities. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is considered as the heart of the global system for mobile or GSM? Correct answer is option A, networks switching subsystem. The NSS is considered as the heart of the global system for mobiles. Just try to Google it and takes some basic level knowledge of NSS. Very important topic in your wireless mobile networks. Okay. Next question. The term HLR stands for the Home Location Register. Option A is correct. HLR stands for Home Location Register. In mobile computing is a type of database that contains information about the authorized subscribers through the GSM core networks. Next question, BSc comes under which of the following category? Okay, so guys, in mobile computing and mobile communication, BSc comes under radio category. BSc stands for base station controller, and base station controller is come in the radio category, and it's a type of network element that controls and observes a number of stations. It also provides an interface between the MSC mobile switching centers and cell sites also. The base station controller comes under the category of radio. Okay. Next question, which is the process of encoding information from a message source is in suitable manner for transmission? Correct answer is option A, modulation. Modulation is the process of encoding information from a message source in suitable manner for transmission. It translates the baseband message signal to a bandpass signal at frequencies that are very high compared to the baseband frequency. Next question, the bandpass signal is called the modulating signal. This statement is true or false? This statement is false. Don't be confused in this type of questions. Very important question is this, because the bandpass signal is called the modulated signal and the baseband message signal is called the modulating signal. Modulation is what? Modulation is done by varying the amplitude, phase or frequency of a high frequency carrier in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal. Okay. Now next question. AM signal have all information in blank space of the carrier amplitude. AM signal have all information in amplitude of the carrier because AM signal superimpose the exact relative amplitudes of the modulating signal onto the carrier. Okay. Next question, in frequency modulation, the amplitude of modulated carrier signal is blank space and its frequency is blank space by the modulating message signal. Guys, in frequency modulation, in FM, the amplitude of modulated carrier signal is kept constant. Okay. Constant while its frequency is varied by the modulating message signal. Means varied by the modulating message signal. So overall correct answer is option C, constant and varied respectively. Okay. Next question, FM signal have all their information in blank space of the carrier. Your correct answer is option C, frequency. FM is what? Frequency modulation. Frequency modulation signal have all their information in the phase or frequency of the carrier. This provides a non-linear and and very rapid improvement in reception quality once a certain minimum received signal level. And in this way, frequency modulation threshold is achieved. And in this question, correct answer is option C, frequency. Frequency modulation signals have all their information in frequency of the carrier. Okay, guys. Next question, amplitude modulation has blank space. The relationship between the quality of the received signal and the power of the received signal. Correct answer here is option D, linear. In amplitude modulation schemes, there is a linear relationship between the quality of the received signal and the power of the received signal. Okay, so correct answer here is option D, linear. Next question, FM has blank space noise immunity when compared to amplitude modulation. Correct answer is option D, better. FM has better noise immunity when compared to amplitude modulation because FM frequency modulation offers many advantages over amplitude modulation, which makes it a better choice for many mobile radio applications, as well as frequency modulation has better noise immunity when compared to amplitude modulation. Okay. Next question, FM signals are blank space susceptible to atmospheric and impulse noise as compared to AM. So guys, here correct answer is option B, less. FM signals are less susceptible to atmospheric and impulse noise as compared to AM because FM signals are represented as frequency variations rather than amplitude variations. Therefore, FM signals are less susceptible to atmospheric and impulse noise. Next question, worst noise affects FM systems. This statement is true or false? This statement is false because if the FM received signal is above the FM threshold, worst noise doesn't affect FM system performance as much as AM systems. It's due to the fact that messages amplitude variations don't carry information in FM frequency modulation. Okay. Next question, what is the reference line for the modulating signal? So the reference line for the modulating signal is carrier peak line. Option B is correct. The modulating signal uses the peak value of the carrier rather than 0 as its reference point. So the envelope varies above the below the peak carrier amplitudes and the 0 reference line of the modulating signal coincides with the peak value of the unmodulated carrier. Okay guys, now next question. Which of the following is an advantages of AM systems in comparison to FM systems? So guys, here main advantages of AM system in comparison to FM systems is occupy less bandwidth. Option A is correct because AM signals are able to occupy less bandwidth as compared to FM signals since the transmission system is linear. Hence, the transmitted power of a FM signal is constant regardless of the amplitude of the message signal. Next question. An FM signal is a blank space envelope signal. Correct answer is option D, constant. An FM signal is a constant envelope signal. It's due to the fact that the envelope of the carrier doesn't change with changes in the modulating signals. Hence, the transmitted power of a FM signal is constant regardless of the amplitude of the message signal. Next question, which of the following is a drawback of FM systems? So guys, main drawback of FM system is wider frequency band. Because FM systems have many advantages over AM systems. Guys, FM systems have many advantages over AM systems, but they also have certain disadvantages. FM systems require a wider frequency band in transmitting media in order to obtain the advantages of reduced noise and capture effect. This is generally several times as larger as that needed for AM. That's why correct answer is option C, wider frequency band. Next question, In which of the following the signal channel has the ability to carry all transmissions simultaneously? So guys, here correct answer is option A, CDMA. Code division multiple access. In the CDMA, the signal channel can carry all the transmissions simultaneously. Next question. In which one of the following times is spatially divided into several time slots that are in the fixed patterns? In which one of the following times is spatially divided into several times are in the fixed patterns? The correct answer is option B, time division multiple access TDMA. In the time division multiple access, time is divided into several required slots that are in the fixed patterns. Next question, which of the following is the first 3G CDMA air interface? Correct answer is option C, CDMA 2000 1XR-T. This is the first 3G air interface. Next question, how many users are supported by CDMA 2001X in comparison to 2G CDMA? So guys, correct answer is twice. CDMA 2000 support up to twice as many users as the 2G CDMA standards. Okay, next question, how often can resources be allocated to the UE? A correct answer here is option C, every subframe. Resources can be located to the UE every subframe. Okay, next question, which of the following measures spectrum efficiency of a wireless system? Guys, radio capacity is a parameter which measures spectrum efficiency of a wireless system. This parameter is determined by the required carrier to interference ratio and the channel bandwidth. Now next question. Blank space is the interference at a base station receiver that comes from the subscriber units in the surrounding cells. Correct answer is option D, reverse channel interference. In the cellular system, the interference at a base station receiver will come from the subscriber units in the surrounding cells. This is also called reverse channel interference. And this is called reverse channel interference. That's why correct answer is option D. Reverse channel interference is the interference at a base station receiver that comes from the subscriber units in the surrounding cells. Next question. In practice, TDMA systems improve capacity by blank space compared to analog cellular systems. Here correct answer is option A, 3 to 6 times. Because in practice, TDMA systems improve capacity by a factor of 3 to 6 times as compared to analog cellular radio systems. Next question. Time division multiple access TDMA introduced ACA, which stands for, very important question guys, and ACA stands for adaptive channel allocation in TDMA. Okay, option C is correct. Next question, TDMA systems transmits in a continuous way. Yes or no? No. Here correct answer is option B, false. This statement is false because TDMA systems transmit data in a buffer and burst method. Thus, the transmission for any user is not continuous form. Okay. Next question. Preamble contains address. Option A is correct. Guys, in the TDMA, time division multiple access frame is made up of a preamble. And what is preamble? Is an information message and the trail bits. In the TDMA frame, the preamble contains the address and synchronization information that both the base station and the subscribers use to identify each other. Okay, so preamble is a part of TDMA and it contains address. Okay, next question. Blank space are utilized to allow synchronization for the receivers between different slots and frames. Correct answer is option C, guard bits. Because guard times are utilized to allow synchronization for the receivers between different slots and frames. In TDMA or FDD systems, intentionally induce several time slots of delay between the forward and reverse time slots for a particular user. So guard bits are utilized to allow synchronization of the receivers between different slots and frame. Okay. Next question, which of the following is not true? For TDMA. So regarding TDMA, single carrier frequency for single user is not true, because TDMA share a single carrier frequency with several users, means multi-users. Okay, where each user makes use of non-overlapping time slots, and the number of time slots per frame depends on several factors such as modulation techniques, available bandwidth, etc. Next question, because of blank space transmission in TDMA, the handoff process in blank space. Very important question. इस टाइप के जो टू फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स वाले क्वेश्चंस होते हैं गाइस, ये एग्जामिनेशन में ज़्यादा देखने को मिलते हैं. So according to this, correct answer is option D, discontinuous and simple. Because of discontinuous transmission in TDMA, the handoff process is much simpler for a subscriber unit, since it's able to listen for other base stations during idle time slots. Last question, blank space synchronization overhead is required in TDMA due to blank space transmissions. High and worst respectively is the correct answer, option A. High synchronization overhead is required in TDMA systems because of vast transmissions, as well as TDMA transmissions are slotted, and this requires the receivers to be synchronized for each data burst. That's why here option A, high and worst respectively, is correct one. High synchronization overhead is required in TDMA due to vast transmissions. Okay guys, so that's all from my side. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Guys, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you have any doubt, let me know in comment section. Please share this video with your friends and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates. If you want any help in any subject, if you have any doubt, let me know in comment section. Feel free, and as well as you send DM on my Insta page or Facebook also for any query. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. For any query. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.